He does not want you thinking or imagining that he's become a bad guy because your day doesn't seem to be going well. He wants you to keep rejoicing in him, knowing that all things work together for the good of those that love him. There was a time in Jesus' life when he was about to be hopeless. However, hopelessness is not inspired by the situation at hand, but by the mentality that processes the situation. He had just finished delivering a sermon to a multitude of 5,000 people, and he wanted to feed them, but it was just 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes that could be found in the whole of that vicinity. His disciples were at a crossroads. Jesus did not panic. He did not accuse God of giving him an audience without providing a meal. His mind processed the situation as an avenue to show forth God's glory and strengthen the faith of his disciples and audience. According to John's account in John chapter 6 verse 11, he says, Jesus then took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed to those who were seated as much as they wanted. He did the same with the fish. You may want to ask, why was Jesus giving thanks? He wanted to give that amount of food to the multitude, and he did. I know that most times when we read this passage, we only pay attention to the miracle of multiplication. We often neglect the fact that there was no miracle until Jesus gave thanks to God. There was no multiplication until Jesus forgot about the embarrassment he was about to receive and focused on God's faithfulness and goodness. He didn't think about the disciples' fear. He ignored it and thought about who God is. He had absolute trust in his Father. The result was a miracle. A quantity of food that, logically speaking, shouldn't be able to feed 10 men, fed a crowd of 5,000, and a remnant of 12 baskets was gathered. There's a moral lesson to learn from this story: thanksgiving and prayer. Your situation should not separate you from God. Instead, you should give thanks and offer supplication out of a heart that trusts him completely. Hebrews chapter 13 verse 8 says, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. What this implies is that God is still God, even if the whole world is rolled up like a mat and all humanity vanishes with it. God is still God, no matter what has happened or will happen in anyone's life. Irrespective of what is coming your way, God is still God. He won't show you his bad side, as some human figures in your life do when things are no longer the same. He does not even have a bad side. He won't abandon you and then return when things are better. He doesn't even change with the seasons in your life. He is the only constant factor in your life, irrespective of what you are going through. He remains the same. I believe that is worthy of being praised for. God deserves your praise because he sticks closer than a brother in times of need. It's your accusations, feelings of ingratitude and abandonment that irritates him. Sometimes I imagine God sitting on his throne saying, when will all of this end? When will this child of mine learn to trust me, even in his most difficult situations? God's goodness to you, even when you didn't deserve or earn it by staying faithful to him, is to help you when things are not all that good. It's to help you trust him and say, if God could be faithful even when I was not faithful to him, then I believe him now and forever. He is right there for me no matter how deep I sink into this mud of unpalatable circumstances. Appreciate him for not being variable like shifting shadows. Dear beloved, my main message to you today is that you need to take courage and be sure that if everything and everyone else changes, God will not change. Your situation will change for better, just as it changed from good to what is right now. That bad situation you are in is just a condition that is not permanent. Just like the summer came and gave way to the winter season, whatever you're facing will give way to a better phase of your life. It would help if you learn from the life of Job. What he went through is worse than what anyone can go through today. Job had an unshaken trust in God. He lost all his children and wealth in one day. For Job, we could rightly describe his circumstance as hell being let loose on him. His wife gave up and advised him to curse God so that he would die. His friends were of a different approach. stressing that Job must have sinned against God and was being punished for his sins. That statement may hit you too. This is common among so-called preachers. However, you must believe that what you are fighting against is not necessarily a punishment for your offense. God did not afflict you with sickness because you could not meet up with His standards. No, He's not punishing you for failing His will. He would never do that to anyone. God does not punish His children. He disciples them. What you are going through may not be pleasant. Discipline itself is not sweet, but in the end, it yields beautiful results, such as faith, patience, and many more good things. In Job, chapter 14, verse 14, Job said,